and welcome to Learning with Lulu. In this video, we are going to be going over a summary of Stave 3 in Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. Before we jump into it, make sure to hit that subscribe button, like the video, and share with others that may benefit before the end of this video. So, Stave 3 is where we meet the third spirit that Marley warned Scrooge about. This is the spirit of Christmas present, and personally it's my favorite spirit. He is definitely very jovial. I picture as like a jolly Santa Claus type of guy. So the clock once again strikes 1 o'clock and wakes Scrooge, who is sleeping very deeply. Now remember, with the previous spirit, the clock already struck 1 o'clock, so time's doing something interesting here. Now, unlike with the initial spirit, nothing happens for about a quarter of an hour. No spirit immediately comes to Scrooge and says, "All right, come along with me." No one shows up for about 15 minutes. After that time, there's a bright light emanating from another room. And so Scrooge goes to that room to see what the source is. I personally take that little moment to possibly symbolize how, with the spirit of Christmas present, how we need to actively make the decision to take ourselves towards that, to use our agency to be present, to be mindful, and be in the here and now, and appreciate what is in the here and now. We have to go out of our way to go to it, or to at least receive it also. But anyway, in that brightly lit room, the second spirit is waiting for Scrooge. And what Scrooge sees is a mountainous throne of feast foods, and a very majestic giant clothed in green robes is sitting on top of that throne of abundance. In a very boisterous, loud voice, the second spirit introduces himself as the ghost of Christmas present. So Christmas, celebrated in the Christian tradition, not just as like a winter solstice time of year, but Christmas as like the Christian holiday, would have started, if it's celebrating the birth of Christ, it would have started when Christ was born, which at the time that Charles Dickens wrote this was over 1800 years ago. And so the ghost says, "I have 1800 plus brothers." He also explains to Scrooge that his lifespan is a single day. Now, of course, this ghost is going to transport Scrooge around. So he tells Scrooge to touch his green robes, and they are immediately transported to a busy city street on Christmas morning. What Scrooge witnesses is what you hopefully would expect from a busy street on a Christmas morning. People are just taking joy in the season, they're window shopping, they're having a good time and happy to be alive on this Christmas morning. Essentially, not only do things look good, but they smell good and feel good, and the senses, it's just a very cozy scene. And everyone is cheery and jovial. Now, the ghost of Christmas present, though, does take Scrooge to a home that's a little bit more run down. And as it turns out, it's the Cratchit's home. Bob Cratchit's family lives there. What Scrooge sees is the mom and kids cooking a Christmas meal, which consists of a goose as the main course, and they're just making the most of their truly very meager resources. We learn that the oldest daughter's name is Martha, and we see her return from work. We also see their oldest son, whose name is Peter. It explains that he is wearing his father's old hand-me-down clothes. So we know that not only are the parents doing all they can to provide for the family, the kids are also part of this effort to survive in the world. We then see Bob Cratchit get home on this Christmas day, and he's carrying their son, Tim. You've probably heard the term or heard of the name Tiny Tim. That's Bob Cratchit's son. Well, Bob and Mrs. Cratchit's son. Scrooge, with the ghost of Christmas present beside him, he's able to observe that despite, or maybe even in spite of their family's obvious lack, they are content and they are happy to be together and they appreciate what they do have. Now, it's obvious that Tiny Tim's health is not in the best state, and Scrooge becomes concerned for his well-being. And so he then starts to wonder, oh my goodness, is this kid going to survive? And he asks the ghost as much. I love that the ghost of Christmas present, he's not necessarily like I think nowadays, I don't know if you've heard the term, but like a toxic positivity. He's also very comfortable just saying the matter of reality. And he says, you know, based on this family's poor living conditions, that's not likely that Tiny Tim is going to do well. The kid is going to need an environment and food that are conducive to him regaining strength and health. He says, obviously, the conditions his family is able to provide, and they are doing everything in their power to do as much as they can to provide. These conditions aren't enough to thrive, especially for a sick kid. The ghost then takes Scrooge to a variety of different celebrations that a variety of different people are having on the holiday. Everyone from sailors and miners, like people who mine things, to even Scrooge's nephew's party, so Fred's party, that Scrooge was invited to. And we see Scrooge actually really take joy in being at this party. And even though he's invisible to everyone there, he really relishes his time being at this party. Now, over Scrooge's time and journey with the ghost of Christmas present, we see this ghost age very rapidly. Remember, his lifespan is that of a single day. So he is aging very rapidly. This stave, this time with the ghost of Christmas present, it ends with the spirit taking Scrooge to a very desolate place. Apparently, concealed underneath the ghost's robes this entire time are two starving children. And the ghost of Christmas present says these children have names. They are ignorance and want. Just like with Tiny Tim, Scrooge becomes concerned and he wants these children to be helped. And with this, the ghost throws Scrooge's own words back at him, and he talks about the prisons and the workhouses and how the children can essentially go there. Now, at the end of Scrooge's time with this ghost, rather than being transported back to his bed, at the stroke of midnight, again, time is doing something weird, this ghost came at 1 o'clock, now it's midnight, and we could assume that, oh, it's the midnight of the following day, he's spent an entire day with the ghost of Christmas present, but that's not the case. Anyway, Scrooge, at the stroke of midnight, sees a cloaked, hooded figure coming towards him. And that's where Stave 3 ends. So, there's the summary of Stave 3 in A Christmas Carol Please make sure to like, subscribe, and share, and keep coming back for the remainder of these Christmas Carol videos. Thanks for watching.